Over the past year, we have featured a lot of really cool trucks on Dirt Every Day. And this week, we're going to show you my own truck. This is Clampy. So Clampy is a 1986 Toyota pickup truck. Now, I got this truck about 15 years ago, and I actually got the truck for free. But it looked nothing like this. 15 years ago, this was a bone stock Toyota pickup truck, 4-cylinder engine, 5-speed transmission, that a friend of mine gave me when he got a new car. And he gave this truck to me because it had 200,000 miles, it came from upstate New York, and it was rusting apart. It had an old camper shell in the back, it barely ran, the frame was getting rotted, but the thing was, I didn't have a vehicle at the time. So I get this truck thinking, well, I can nurse it along until it dies, but Clampy never died. In fact, when I moved to California to come work for 4 Wheel and Off-Road magazine, this is the truck I moved to California in. Over time, I was like, I want to do some upgrades to the truck. One of the first things we did was we put some new seats in it. The Toyota seats were rotted out. We put in these PRP little bucket seats. Made the truck much nicer to ride around in. But it was still an old Toyota. We eventually got a Total Chaos suspension. We actually put this suspension on in a buddy's driveway, took it out to the dunes and jumped it. And when we jumped it, the camper shell blew off and the truck didn't break in half, which was amazing to me. 200,000 miles, the frame is full of rust and it's still holding together. I eventually decided I wanted it to be a rock crawler. So all the independent front suspension got cut off. We actually took an adapter from Advanced Adapters and put 2 transfer cases together to give us multiple low ranges. And we cut all the old axles out and put 1-ton axles. The rear axle was a Dana 70 that I had from an old project. It actually has 717 gears and a Detroit locker. 717 seems like ridiculously low gears, but for some reason it works in Clampy. I have this theory after driving Clampy for 10 years that you want to be over-axled under engine. What that means is you have more axle than engine. So that way you have this little tiny engine that can just chug away, but if you wedge big tires under stuff, you're a lot less likely to break them because the axles are so big. The front axle has an ARB air locker, 717s. The rear has a Detroit locker. This gives us tons of traction to the tires. I built this truck around 40-inch BFGs. Now it has 40-inch Maxxis. We've tried a lot of different stuff. These big sticky tires make this truck work awesome. Over the time, Clampy's changed a lot. We put these fiberglass fenders on when we did the pre-runner suspension. We took the fuel tank from underneath the frame and stuffed it up above the frame. Built this whole kind of, I call it my garden furniture rack in the back there. It looks kind of funky, but it's actually where we put our fridge freezer. We got a big 40-inch spare back there, a high lift jack, toolboxes, a Warn winch up front, and we put a cage inside from All Pro Off-Road. That's one of those things that we did really early on, knowing that if we're jumping the truck, we wanted it to be safe. We have tube doors from Schaefer's Off-Road that allow you to kind of lean out and see where you're going. The truck is, I mean, look at it, it's kind of falling apart, but it keeps working. The 40-inch tires get traction, the tons of gearing keep it moving, and this little 4-banger can just keep pushing Clampy around. Originally, the truck had a 22 RE, great engine, lasts forever. Well, we were out rock crawling, broke the radiator, drained the engine, and by the time we got back to camp, we had blown the head gasket. We probably should have got towed back, but we didn't think that far ahead, and the next thing you know, blown engine. We decided to upgrade. We put a 3RZ out of a late model Tacoma under the hood. It added about 50, 100 horsepower. It's fun to drive. You can beat it up, but it doesn't break so far, knock on wood, knock on Clampy. Clampy makes me look like a good driver. Between the sticky tires and the gearing and the short wheelbase and the torquey little engine, it just seems to go wherever I point it. Half the time when I drive the thing, I feel like it's just driving itself. I'm just in there to kind of keep the truck company. The wheels just kind of dig and grab and they find where they want to be, and that's where the truck heads. I just kind of keep it all under control. You build a rock crawler, you want it low, you have this very little up travel, and you get out here in these whoops and you're just beating yourself up. But then you get to the rock trails and the thing just creepy crawls and droops into the holes and digs and climbs and scraps its way up the trail. Kind of like a little turtle. You can see here where I would be out rock crawling and get into some rocks and you just don't want to stop. You just keep going. Kind of mangles up the whole cab. Doesn't really make it that easy to put a real door back on, but it's a trail rig. That's what it's here for. It's got a ram assist on the front steering that we did with the guys over at Lee Steering. It helps us turn the big tires. The headlights are barely holding in there. All the turn signals are missing. It's not really street legal anymore, but it could be. I mean, with a little bit of work and some time, I could replace all that stuff, but it's a rock crawler. I'm not gonna do it. This truck is for coming out here to the desert. What I like about rock crawling is it's kind of like this methodical puzzle. You're going up the trail, you got boulders as big as Volkswagens all around you, your friends are kind of cruising in their rigs, and you're just trying to figure out the line. You're trying to figure out, where is my truck going to go with this wheelbase and these wide of tires? How is it going to work? That's what's so much fun to me about rock crawling. Now, a lot of people try a lot of different recipes for whatever they're building. This recipe that I built with Clampy, I kind of built it this way because I had the parts. I had the big leaf springs to go spring under. I had the low gears in the axles already. So I didn't really know if it was all gonna work. I said 4-cylinder engine, 717 gears, 40-inch tires. It might rock crawl, but it may never run down the road. It actually worked great when it all came together. I'm not saying it's the fastest rock crawler. I'm not saying it's the fastest thing on the street, but it did everything good enough that I could go out and have fun. I've never had to turn around and go home because of the truck being built this way. I could always find a way around the obstacle or winch out. Like, if it gets to that point, hook the cable up, drag yourself up the obstacle and go on to the next one. And building a truck like Clampy is a pretty low budget build. I mean, yeah, 1-ton axles can be expensive, but that's what I like so much about building this truck and building a rock crawler. It doesn't have to be this high-end $100,000 go fast King of the Hammers type race car. It can be an old truck that you just want to go out and have a good time in. And I have had more fun in this truck than just about any of the trucks that I own. So that's it for Dirt Every Day this week. A lot of people really like my Clampy truck, and I wanted to show it to everybody. If you like Dirt Every Day, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/dirteveryday. Look at our magazine, it's 4-Wheel and Off-Road. We have 4wheelandoffroad.com. And then there's the 4-Wheeler Super Site, which is 4wheeler.com, has all of our magazines that the whole company makes. We will be doing updates online. We may be holding contests, we may be giving away swag, or we may be coming to a place near you with one of our trucks. If you want to come out and check it out, we'll be there. See you in 2 weeks.